So one of the most commonly requested topics that I've had from trading communities from the live stream is psychology. And weirdly enough, it's something that we don't often talk about. It's mostly talking about fundamentals, technical analysis, how to manage a trade, how to take profits, all of that. But fundamentally, everything falls back to the psychology of a trader. And in this series, or in this video, we are going to talk about all of the emotional aspects involved in trading and how that affects your trading, how to better control your emotions physically, starting with the emotional control. So all of us as traders have the fear, we have the emotion of greed, impatience. And one of the biggest things I always like to talk about in trading is the fear aspect. And that basically comes back to you as a person where, let's say, for instance, you don't come from money. You've got a fear of losing money. There's that fear of you not being enough. There's that fear of you putting or trading with money that you cannot actually afford to lose. And effectively, that is definitely going to hamper your ability to control your emotions when you're trading. Therefore, as the disclaimer always says on a broker's website or any financial institution, do not invest or do not trade with money that you cannot afford to lose. Because ultimately, if you are trading with money that is supposed to be paying bills, supposed to be paying rent, there's definitely going to be that emotion of fear. The other side of it is greed. And as soon as you start seeing easy money in the markets, especially in the FX market, there's that sense of you are going to be greedy. You are going to try and rush the process. Where unfortunately, if you've got greed being the center of attention of your trading, I promise you, you are not going to go forward in your trading journey. You are actually going to take a very quick step backwards. And therefore, greed, I would say, is also one of the most commonly mistaken things in trading, where it is not good to be greedy. You need to control your greed, and you need to have the vision of this is a long-term thing, not something just in the short term where you're looking for quick satisfaction, looking to make a quick buck here and there. And the other one in terms of emotional control is impatience. And I told the guys on stream as well today, I tell them every day after we do our analysis, the most difficult thing for traders not taking trades, it's not even taking losses in the market. The biggest killer of traders is impatience, because that is where we've got that Protestant mindset of if we're not in a trade, we are not working as traders. And a lot of times our job as traders is basically to wait for our setups to play out, wait for the best setups that we can potentially take in the market. And if you really wait for the great setups, there are going to be days, there's even sometimes weeks where you cannot take a trade because the market is either ranging, the setups that you've got in your playbook, they're not playing out. So now you need to sit on your hands. And ultimately, the thing with trading, even though it is not necessarily gambling, for some people it is gambling, but for the guys that have been trading full-time or trading as a career, it is not gambling, but there's still that sense of we are rushing to get that dopamine hit we get from having risk on the table, having a trade being live in the market. And now all of a sudden it is that thing of you constantly chasing that dopamine hit, you constantly chasing that adrenaline of being live in the market. One of the other things guys really talk about is risk management. And for the most part, the retail trading community, that is something that they don't even talk about. It's not even in their dictionary. It is go big or go home. And unfortunately, if you're going to try and make it in the trading industry, especially if you're going to try and do some prop firm challenges, you need to be able to effectively manage your risk. And risk management is not just about putting on the initial size on your trade. That is not risk management. There's various factors to risk management, especially in terms of when to trade. For instance, over this weekend, we had a lot of news coming out of the Middle East due to wars going on between Israel and the Palestinians, Hamas. And there are times where you should sit out in the market where there's going to be volatility. So you're managing your risk in terms of staying out of the market. It's a cliche saying that the best trade is no trade because you've got no open risk in the market. So risk management also comes down to managing your position size. So for instance, if you've streamed with me live on my live streams, then you would have seen that I rarely take a full stop loss. So my job as a trader is always to try and minimize my risk. When I enter a position, I am more than happy to take my 15-20 pip stop loss. But when I'm already in the trade, I'm looking for signs that maybe the trade is not working or we're going into some type of range. So I'm always looking at how can I reduce my stop loss and not take the full 20 pip stop. So for the most part, maybe I'll take a 5 pip stop, a 7 pip stop. And that risk management has helped me to, even with a lower win rate, between 50 to 60% win rate, to still be profitable in the market, just purely due to having the ability to manage my trade actively and reduce my risk. The other one I always get asked about is, Chris, how do you stay disciplined? And there's no straightforward answer to this. The thing is, just be disciplined. If you are taking knocks in the market and if you've taken enough losses, mentally you've scarred yourself, and you need to get to that point where you say, listen here, I'm not going to be undisciplined in my trading. I don't want to go back to that feeling of I'm not good enough or I'm just constantly losing. So I'm going to condition myself to follow my plan. And again, this comes to having a trading plan. And most of the guys have a trading plan, but they break the rules they've set in their trading plan. Then why have a trading plan at all if you're not following the rules? Then rather just tear up that trading plan and tell yourself, I'm going to trade on how I'm feeling on the day. I'm just going to browse around on the charts. If I see something that I like, I'm just going to take it. But that's not discipline. Discipline comes from basically repeating the same process over and over to condition yourself to become disciplined. So for instance, when you start training, you aren't disciplined immediately. You only get disciplined from going to gym every day, doing the things that are uncomfortable. And that way you start conditioning your mind to become disciplined. So it's not something you can teach. There's no shortcut to say, hey, these are the 5 steps to get disciplined. Discipline is literally a repetitive thing that you have to repeat over and over up until it's conditioned in your mind. Another aspect of trading that also falls under psychology is overtrading. And I think that is most probably also one of the common killers in the retail trading industry is overtrading. We've got this sense of more trades equal more profit, but weirdly enough, I saw a stat on prop firms most recently stating that there was a positive correlation between traders trading less in a month, holding trades for longer, and that immediately tells me that less exposure in the market is actually providing more positive returns. So there's a definite positive correlation between trading less, because again it comes back to the sense of, do I wait for the best setups to execute on, or do I just go every day and just machine gun into the market, take every single trade I see, trade 10 to 20 pairs? That is not what you should be doing. Overtrading, big killer. And again, some of you might actually be profitable in your trading. You just need to now start removing all of those bad trades. Let's call it the C-class trades. You've got your A-class setups. Those are the ones that you want to be focusing on. And now you slowly but surely, you want to start removing those bad trades out of your, let's call it, arsenal of trades that you are taking. Loss aversion is also one thing where it is also a common killer in trading, where you are trying to mitigate the possibility of you losing. That is why most of the traders are trying to look for the holy grail in trading. They are looking for the 100% win rate. They're looking for a strategy where they cannot lose. And again, it comes back to the fear of losing. When you are trading, you need to be comfortable with the fact that there are going to be losses. There are going to be weeks, there could be months where you're on a losing streak. But ultimately, you cannot have the fear of losing when you are trading. That is unfortunately a big killer as well. So now you enter a trade. Now you want to move your stops too quickly to break even. You hit a lot of break evens. Now you get into a trade. It moves a little bit into profit. Now you should be moving your stops to break even. But now you've seen so many trades hit break even. Now you keep your stop loss at the full stop loss. And now it hits your stop. So now it's that cycle of over and over again. You're either moving your stops too quickly or you are moving your stops too late and you take the full loss instead of managing the trade, trading what you see and not what you feel. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to, is trading what you see and not what you feel. One of the things I hated, and we actually talked about it in the office today, is journaling your trade. When I went through a rough patch, that is the only thing that brought me through a losing streak or through like a psychological dip I went through, was actually going back and journaling every single trade, to visually go back after a week's trading, after a month's trading, seeing the trades visually play out, seeing what worked, what didn't work. And then all of a sudden it was like I'm doing the same thing over and over. I'm trading at a time of day where I'm taking losses. Then I could be critical in my thinking in saying like, look, I've seen that I'm taking losses pre-market. So why am I trading pre-market? Let's just remove that out of the equation. Now I see most of my winners are, say, 15 minutes after the open. So now I know, so that is my best time to trade, is say 10-15 minutes after the open. That's now when I start looking for my setups, and that's when I start trading, and my session only begins then. So if you're on the streams as well, you would see that I do not trade the open. I wait for the first 15 minutes, and after that, that is when I really dial in, I lock it in and start looking for my setups. And another place where trading, a trading journal is going to help you. I hate journaling a trade, so I'm making sure that the trade I take is worth journaling. As weird as it sounds, I'm not going to overtrade, because I know then I have to do 7 journals of all 7 trades. So I'm making sure that the trade I'm taking is worth an entry in my trade journal. So that also helps you with not overtrading, because if you really meticulous in your trade journal, you are not just going to machine gun 20 trades a day, because now you have to go sit after the trading session and now start journaling 20 trades. So that also helped me with overtrading. Mindfulness and meditation, that's not something I do. Some people ask me about mindfulness, meditation, all of that. My thing is, I see it as a profession. If you look at a surgeon, if you look at a pilot, when they are doing their job, they are focused at the task at hand. So they're not watching Netflix on the side. They're not playing games on this side. They're not browsing through Instagram. When they are doing their work, when the doctor is on the operating table operating on a patient, he is 100% focused with the task at hand. So when I get to the charts, I'm already mindful as to what's happening in the markets. I already know what upcoming news events we've got, what upcoming economic data we've got on deck. So when I'm in front of the charts, I'm purely focused on what price is doing. I'm looking at where I can potentially enter the market. I'm already thinking about what I want to see at certain levels, how I want to execute at those levels, how I'm going to manage my trade once I'm in the trade. Now I've got my next level that I want to trade towards. And all of this I'm thinking about while I'm on the chart. So I'm not meditating beforehand. I'm literally focused on the charts. I already know what I want to do. I already know what I want to see at certain price levels, and then once I execute, I know how I'm going to manage the trade. Psychological support, that is one thing we rarely get as traders. A lot of people, even my own mother, when I started trading, she was like, now you're going to be a full-time gambler. Go back to your job as a structural engineer. You studied for so many years. Why do you want to go into full-time gambling? And we don't get a lot of psychological or even emotional support from our peers. Trading is a very lonely game. And a lot of times we just have ourselves and the trading community around us. And for the most part, there's a lot of trading communities out there that is teaching the wrong thing. It's not necessarily the right community to be in, but ultimately you have to be very strong in yourself. So there are going to be challenges where you want to give up on your trading journey, where you don't necessarily feel like you're making progress. And that again is where your trading journal comes in, having that long-term mindset of, I'm not just trying to do this for 6 months and stop. But if I get the ability to teach myself how to trade, this is a skill that can pay me for the rest of my life. And unfortunately, if you think about it, a lot of guys want to go into full-time trading, but you don't see any lawyers, doctors, any professional, even engineers, going into the industry only after watching a few YouTube videos and then after a year going to the industry thinking they're industry leader or industry expert. Most of those professions you need to study for 4 years. You start off at the base of the business. You're basically the gopher. And then you start building yourself up. Even myself, when I went into the trading industry as a structural engineer, when I started off, I wasn't doing big designs. I was literally doing small designs here and there for the lead engineers, but ultimately I built myself up to that level where I was leading major projects, and that is ultimately how you need to see it with trading, is baby steps. Give yourself 4 or 5 years. Look at the long game instead of looking at it of, I'm seeing this guy on social media posting X, Y, and Z. Why am I not there? So you are on your own journey. You don't need to focus on anybody else on Instagram, on YouTube, wherever it is. Stay in your own lane. Focus on your own improvement. Focus on your own ability, and the results will follow. It's all about the process. If you follow the process, the results will follow. Trading plan development is another one really spoken about, and for me, the major thing in my trading plan, or that I changed years ago, was that I'm a day trader. You can almost call me a scalper in a sense, is that I saw that a lot of my trades got stopped out at break even. And that is when I decided 90% of my trades I'm going to take off at 1-to-1. I'm rather going to hit a lot of singles. I'm not going to go for these big home runs. I'm just going to hit the singles. I'm going to make the scoreboard tick over every day, every week. And then at the end of the day, as soon as that starts accumulating and you start seeing that effect of cumulative growth in your trading account, and also the mental aspect, if you keep hitting small little wins every day, every week, mentally it boosts you to say like, flip, I can do this. It's not a case of you're getting hit all the time with losses and now you want to give up. It puts you in a bad mind space. And for me personally, that has helped a lot, taking 1-to-1s, just continuously driving out those small gains, those small inches. And at the end of the month, it really adds up. It's not a case of going for home runs. You're just ticking over on the scoreboard, and mentally that helps a lot as well. Market psychology, I would say that almost falls under fundamental analysis, but market psychology refers to more the sentiment of the market. So in a lot of cases, I tell newer traders, don't be too focused on what's happening in the fundamental space. Ultimately, as the Dow theory states, that all known information will be discounted in price. So ultimately, the price will reflect all known information. But market psychology, at the end of the day, if you've got a sense of what the sentiment is, especially like after a weekend where we had a lot of news about war, a lot of news about geopolitical risks, then obviously that's going to dent sentiment. And you need to think of, how are the traders getting to the office on a Monday morning? Let's say, for instance, the first traders that are online, Asian session, they're looking at the news. They're digesting all of the information given to them over the weekend, the headlines, how it can potentially affect the markets. So there are also, even though the market is algo driven for the most part, there are also humans saying that listen here, there is risk on the table. There is some political uncertainty. Why would we open up ourselves to further risk? So that is where you need to understand the sense of when is it a risk on market, when is the market greedy, where guys will throw money at the equity market, and when guys are going to take their foot off the pedal and say like, flip, we just need to calm it down a bit. Let's just take some money out of the market. Let's lower our risk because there's a lot of uncertainty going on. The mental game of trading, and I think everything is mental when it comes to trading. I've told guys it's not about how much you know, it's about how much you know yourself. And ultimately, if you can get to the stage where you are comfortable with either winning or losing, and it is not affecting you negatively when you win, because a lot of times you get onto like a little bit of a winning streak, and now psychologically you're on top of the world, you're chasing that feeling of winning, you feel like you can't put a foot wrong. That is usually when you get hit in the market. Trust me, stay humble. As my mom always would say to me, it's like, son, you're doing well, but keep your knees on the ground. And that is where I've learned that the best traders are usually the most humble traders, because they've been through it. We've hit the highs, we've hit the lows, and if you've been to the lows, you appreciate the highs a lot more, but you're also more quiet when you hit the highs. You're not this guy saying like, I'm the GOAT, this and that, because you've been in the dip. So when you hit the high, there's a sense of gratitude, like, flip, I've been through some tough things, but it feels good to also be on top and also to hit those winners. So the mental game is probably the biggest part of trading, and ultimately what it all comes down to is learning from your mistakes. So as traders, we've got an ego issue, and a lot of times it is not really about the market. It is about your own ego, not being able to sit back and willfully saying like, listen here, that was a bad trade. I can't blame the market. I can't blame the broker. I need to take onus on myself and be like, flip, that is on me. I didn't follow my trading plan. I didn't trade when I should have been trading. I had too much size on my trade. I didn't manage my trade well. I was busy with the email here on the one side. I was busy checking social media on this side while I'm trading. So be critical on yourself. That is the biggest thing. Don't try and look for other people to blame or any outside influence to say like, oh, but this was the market's fault, or this was the broker's fault. Take onus for your own mistakes. So sit back, look at your trades and say, okay, what did I do wrong? I'm going to be critical with every trade I take. When I journal, I'm going to be critical in my journaling. I'm going to be critical on my decision making. And ultimately, that is how you can learn from your mistakes. If you can't learn from your mistakes, that's the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. So why are you doing the same thing? Learn from your mistakes, be critical, and ultimately, if you start putting those blocks down and you start building that foundation, there is absolutely nothing stopping you from reaching that consistently profitable status as a trader. And with that, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Be sure to hit the bell icon, like and subscribe, and be sure to join us Monday to Friday on the opening bell, where we take trades live every single morning at the London Open, GMT +2, and we will see you guys there. Thanks so much.